Probably the two secretaries of state I admire the most were George Shultz and Jim Baker, both Republicans, both Marines, both graduates of Princeton University, the way my two sons were, and incredibly smart, incredibly strong leaders, highly effective at what they did in representing our country, in guiding and directing and leading the State Department and leading the Foreign Service. Remember when I left Secretary Shultz's staff, they held a small reception and for me among the senior people on the 7th floor in the leadership positions. And I turned and offered a toast to him and said, Mr. Secretary, thank you for your service, and I want to say how proud I am working for you, because I knew that being here and working for you, all we ever had to do was tell the truth, to speak the truth. That would come during the Iran-Contra crisis that shook the government, secret operations being directed out of the White House, behind the back of the Secretary of State, by a military officer, Lieutenant Colonel Ollie North, who was using the power, the back channel power of the White House, sending orders to American ambassadors about how to facilitate this deal that he was organizing and operating, about sending money and support to the Contras in Nicaragua and Central America, and also shipping arms or making other arrangements going to Iran, thus the Iran-Contra crisis. And when it was exposed by journalists, this huge investigation took place, and everybody who had been in any way associated with it or involved in it had to be deposed by the FBI. All your files had to be turned over and investigated. You had to search for anything you had. And we, in the Executive Secretariat, had endeavored to track what Ollie North, this rogue lieutenant colonel, was doing in the U.S. government. Imagine, for the Secretary of State, we had to track what another American official was doing, try to find out what kind of orders he was sending to American ambassadors. It was stunning development. We kept a file of the information. We called it the polecat file, right? The skunk file, the polecat file. And we would discover and find out what he was arranging through secret dealings with certain Israelis, secret trips to Iran, and also sending money, back channel money, to Central America. Secretary Shultz became so upset when we found out about this that he went to President Reagan, and it was either going to be this would all change and his authority would be reinforced, or he would resign. And when he left the building, left the State Department, and went to the White House for that meeting, no one knew what the outcome would be. And it was so interesting to watch that our building, the mechanism of producing memos for the secretary, bring information up to him, it all just stopped. It's as though someone pushed the pause button to see whether he would still be the Secretary of State. And we waited and waited, and he came back, and he told us the president had come down on his side. We were to draft an instruction to every ambassador, telling them they had to tell the Secretary of State about any orders they received from the White House, unless they were personally instructed by the President of the United States not to reveal it. And that every ambassador had to write a message saying that he or she understood the orders they were receiving and that they would comply with them. It was this stunning moment of Iran-Contra that would impact me and others who worked there for several years, and would be a true crisis in and of the U.S. government and President Reagan's presidency.